Welcome to my first ever official live stream on my channel. Bear with me as I figure out all the kinks of live streaming and my little bit of stage fright for talking in front of a camera for a long period of time. I am not used to this. But anyways, hello. My name is Sophia. I am starting a Twitch channel about all things rock climbing. And disclaimer, I'm in no means an expert. I don't have any specific certifications, but I just absolutely love rock climbing, indoors and outdoors. And I want this channel to have some tips and tricks and just like share some knowledge about rock climbing in general. And today I'm gonna be talking about the climbing essentials in regards to gear and like what you should first purchase when you want to get into rock climbing, like the very first things to buy, and then as you kind of progress, how sorry, I lost my train of thought. As you progress, what else, in addition, what kind of gear you might want to buy. And then I'm also gonna be teaching you how to tie an 8-knot, which I'll get into exactly what that is later in the video, in this live stream, as well as how to set up a personal anchor system, which I'll also explain later on. And lastly, I'm going to show you some pictures and videos of classic climbing holds so you can familiarize yourself with the different types of climbing holds that exist. So I also want to share with you a little bit about my personal climbing journey. I'm relatively new to rock climbing. I started the first time I ever climbed outside, which is in Boulder, Colorado, which is where I currently live. It was May of 2019, I remember. And at that point, I really did not. I had fun with it, rock climbing, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't ever think that it would be such a huge part of my life like it is now, because I was scared, and I didn't feel very strong when I was climbing, and I didn't feel like I was, in general, very good at it. And then I didn't climb much of 2019 at all, and then when the pandemic hit in March of 2020, by the time April rolled around, the weather in Boulder was getting a little bit warmer, and my friends and I had so much free time quarantining in our house that we had a lot of time to go climbing outside up in Boulder Canyon, and that's kind of like April was when I really started climbing a lot more than I had ever climbed in my whole life, outside. And I kind of, as I noticed myself progress and be able to come back to climbs that I couldn't climb initially the first time I tried them, I kind of realized how rewarding this sport is and how self-motivating it is, and it helps physically as well as mentally and emotionally, because fear is a huge component of climbing as well. Like when you're just looking down and you're afraid of falling, you kind of have to overcome that, which is in general a really important skill to have as in your life, like being able to control your fear. And I lost my train of thought again. Oh yeah, my climbing journey. And so I climbed a lot April through September, October, I suppose. and it was all outside, of course, because it was warm enough. But then by the time October, November rolled around, I decided to get a climbing membership at a rock climbing gym, which was, I now climb at the Boulder Rock Club, which is also in Boulder. And that has, and this is my first experience with having a climbing membership at a gym indoors. And I've also absolutely adored it, because I can kind of, when you're climbing outside, it's a big time commitment. You have to take the time to drive out there, which is Boulder. Living in Boulder, I'm super spoiled because I can be up climbing outside in like 30 minutes around, but more often than not, it takes a lot longer than that depending on where you live. And then when you have a climbing gym membership, you can kind of just go for an hour, climb a little bit, then get back to whatever you were working on. But anyways, now that it is almost March again, and it should be starting to get warm in the next few weeks/months, I'll be climbing outside again a lot more, which I'm really, really, really looking forward to. But yes, anyways, that is my climbing journey, I suppose. And now I'm going to talk about some of the most essential climbing gear that you'll need to get into climbing. First being climbing shoes. So I have these are La Sportiva. These are pretty straightforward climbing shoes. If you can't tell, they're pretty flat and comfortable. And then these climbing shoes are a little bit more aggressive. The toe goes in and curves in a bit more. If you can't tell, let me see this comparison here. So these shoes are a lot flatter than these, and these have a much more arch and arched toe. And these I would recommend for first getting into climbing because they're a lot more comfortable, and if you don't if you're not at the level of like focusing on technique in climbing and you're just getting started, these are the way to go just because they're more comfortable and yeah. But when you start doing harder climbs and getting more into the sport, then you definitely want to get some more aggressive shoes, because basically the curved toe lets you put your foot on holds that you'd slip off on shoes that are flatter. Like more often they're like tiny little holds that don't feel super comfortable or stable, but with these they will do the job, and these you can more easily slip off of them. So shoes are number one. Number two is a chalk bag. So this chalk, especially for me because I have notoriously sweaty hands, unfortunately, chalk is super essential when climbing on rock. And I have this little chalk ball that basically, chalking is for when your hands are sweaty. You chalk up and then they're not sweaty anymore, and you can grip onto the holds much better. And then lastly, a harness, which I'm wearing right now, so I'll stand up and show you. This is a climbing harness. This is the belay loop, and these are the hard points. This part and this part, they're called the hard points. You've got your leg, I don't even know what the correct term is, but I guess Yeah, I don't know. And then you tighten it from here, and you put your legs in these guys, and you can also adjust the tightness on these right here. You always want to make sure that there's no twists in your harness. So like this part shouldn't be twisted. These two in the back shouldn't be twisted. And yes, so basically the three most essential parts or gear to have when you're climbing is climbing shoes, chalk bag, and harness. And if you are not belaying, you this is all you would need to top rope. And then when you're bouldering, which is the difference between sport climbing / top roping and bouldering is lower to the ground with no ropes. So pretty much all you need for bouldering is shoes and a chalk bag. You don't even need your harness. But for sport climbing, which is when ropes are involved, you need your harness, of course, because you need to be tied into the rope. And then when you do get into belaying, you'll also need an ATC, or basically any sort of belay device. So the two main belay devices are this, which is called an ATC, and a gree-gree. I don't have a gree-gree, but it's the same idea of you, the person that's at belaying, which is the person below on the ground, making sure the person that's climbing on the rope is safe the entire time. It's a very, very, very important job as when you are a belayer, because you literally have someone's life in your hands, and you need to be paying attention the whole time when you are belaying. But yes, this is an ATC, so once you start belaying, you'll definitely need to get one of these at least, or a gree-gree. And in regards to where you can purchase all of these items, REI, of course, is going to have all of these things. But if you're just first getting into climbing, I would recommend going to secondhand sports stores around where you live, because you can find really good deals. The first climbing shoes I bought at a secondhand sports store, and they were $10, which is a really good deal, because climbing shoes brand new range from like $80 to $200. And then that same goes for chalk bag. Like, you can definitely find a used chalk bag for a lot cheaper at a secondhand store than in a store like REI. In regards to harness, I honestly would recommend getting a brand new harness, just because they can wear. Like, if you climb a lot, you should get your harness replaced. I think it's like every 5 or 10 years. And just getting a brand new harness, you don't have to worry about making sure that your harness is in good shape, because eventually, of course, like, this part can start to decay, and that's very, very bad, because this is what holds your life pretty much. But yes, so those are the essentials. And getting into sport climbing, once you're a little more serious about it, it's important to buy these, which are called Quickdraws. And basically how these work is if you're climbing outside and you see a climb that at the crag, the crag is the term for your climbing spot outside. So there's a ton of crags up in Boulder Canyon, and Boulder Canyon has a lot of options. But anyways, each climb that's a sport climb is bolted all the way up to the top, and how it works is as you're climbing up, you clip in the quick draw to the bolt that's on the wall, and then on this other side you put your rope through it. So basically, as you're climbing up, you are taking the rope up with you to protect your falls. And let's see. Yeah, so these are my quick draws. They are also a pretty expensive purchase. Brand new, they are usually like $120 for 6 quick draws, and most climbs are around, I want to say, like 10 on average bolts. It depends on where you are, of course, because a lot of climbs, the wall is just taller, and therefore you need more quick draws because there's more bolts because it's a taller wall. But I have 12 quick draws, and I actually got these on Facebook Marketplace for $80, which is a really, really good deal. And of course, they were slightly used, but still in really good condition. It's important to make sure that if you are buying quick draws that are used, that all of the carabiners are in good shape still. And yeah, but I also would recommend looking at secondhand Facebook marketplaces or etc. For quick draws, just because they're so expensive. But yeah, and then the next essential for getting into sport climbing / lead climbing is a climbing rope. So this is not mine, actually, it's my roommate's, but it's a 60-meter climbing rope. And you, of course, always need one of these when you're climbing outside, sport climbing wise. And let me try to find the end so I can show you how to tie an 8-knot, which is a very, very, very secure knot that guarantees that you tie into your harness and guarantees that when you fall, the rope has you well. I really can't find the end of it. Oh, goodness. Where are you? Bear with me. What the heck? Oh, here it is. Okay, found the end. Okay, so basically for an 8-knot, what you want to do is you want to find the one end of the rope, hold it here, take it across to your opposite shoulder here, and this is the distance that you'll need. So you grab it and pinch it here, and then you want to make a ghost like that, basically tie it around, and then poke the ghost in the face. Oh my goodness, of course I did this wrong. I wrapped it around once, or an extra time. So, okay, here I go. Make a ghost, choke the ghost, poke it in the face. And here is your 8-knot. It looks like an infinity knot, of course. That's step 1. Step 2 is, like I mentioned before, the hard points on the harness, these two guys, you take the end of the rope and pull it up through the first hard point and then through the second hard point. And you bring the 8-knot all the way up here. And now this is the part that it definitely takes practice to understand. I know a lot of people have trouble with this at first. But basically, the next move is you want to go around the 8-knot and trace it with this end of the rope that's still here. So every part of it is doubled up. So basically, let me see the best way. It's in here, then I go underneath because this is where the beginning of the 8-knot starts down here. And then I pull it through, and then I follow it around and over, and then it goes underneath. So I take the end and I go take it underneath here, and then it goes up and through here. See how all of it has been doubled up except for this last part, which I'm about to make doubled up now. And then I poke it through, and voila! This is all doubled up. And then you want this part, the end of the rope, to be at least 6 inches. So actually, this is a little bit short. I would want to make it a tiny bit longer, but the 6 inches guarantees that this part will never slip through, go back and slip through here on accident. Because if you make it too short, like if it ends right here instead of up here, or instead of the 6 inches, it could possibly slip through, and that would be a no. But yeah, so this is your 8-knot, and then the real reason it's called an 8-knot is because 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. This is one of the safety checks that you should always do before you hop on the wall with your belay partner. Count to make sure that you have 8 rope sections. So 2, 4, 6, 8. Looks good. Let's see. So that is how to tie an 8-knot. I hope that I explained that well enough. And let's see. Next, I'm going to show you how to create a personal anchor system, which is basically when you're climbing up the rope, up the wall outside, and you have put in all of the draws as you go up the wall and you get to the top, there is always 2 anchors that mark the end of the climb that you clip your rope into. But sometimes those anchors don't have any built-in clips. So luckily in Boulder Canyon, because Boulder has such a hub of climbers, a lot of the outside climbs have kind of clips that are like this permanently at the top of the anchors, where you don't need to tie a personal anchor system to grab your Quickdraws, but there are a lot of climbs out there that need you to what's called clean them, which basically, if you picture 2 bolts at the very top of the climb that don't have clips like this or anything, then you will put your Quickdraws in the top of the 2 bolts at the anchors. There's always 2 at the top because of the need to sometimes tie a personal anchor system, and because of weight distribution, having 2 bolts is just safer than having 1 at the top. So basically, the reason for a personal anchor system, of course, is to tie in your harness to the 2 anchors at the top and take the Quickdraws that you have put in at the top of the anchors, basically so you can get them back. Because if you think about it, if you're at the top of the climb and these are in at the top, and then your rope is attached, your rope is attached to it like this, you might be wondering, how am I going to be able to get these 2 Quickdraws back? And the answer to that is the personal anchor system. So basically, when you're at the top of the climb and you are hooked in to the rope like this, and your Quickdraws are in the 2 anchors at the top, it is now time for you to create your personal anchor system. Attach yourself to the anchors at the top. Then you're safe to take the rope out of these because you're attached to those anchors. And then you can take these Quickdraws off of the wall and then tie in the rope to the bolts or rope rings that are at the top. I'm not doing a very good job of explaining this, but anyways. These are called slings, and slings are what you create with your personal anchor system, or how you create your personal anchor system. So basically, these slings are a little bit longer than normal, but you can double them up, or I double them up like this to shorten them. And then when you're at the top of the climb, what you do is you need to have 2 slings. You wrap your first sling around your belay loop like this, nice and tight, and then you do it again on the opposite side. So it's like this, and you have 2 points to distribute your weight, and then you clip in to the here, you put in 2 draws like this, and then you clip in these guys at the anchors at the top, and then you are basically like completely safe from falling because your whole weight is now on the anchors, and then you're safe to take the rope out of your harness, which I don't have it tied in right now, but you would completely untie your 8-knot and take your rope out, and then put your rope back through the rings / anchors at the top of the climb. So, yes, that is how you tie a personal anchor system or set it up. And the very last thing that I want to show you guys today is some climbing holds that kind of display like the different type of climbing holds like I mentioned before. So let me get that started. Here is a photo of some classic types of climbing holds. So you see jug on the bottom left, then sloper to the right, then crimp, then pinch, then pocket, as well as down pull, side pull, gaston, and undercling. And now I'm going to show you a video that displays kind of what how you hold on to them. It's not the best filmed video ever, but it kind of is a better picture of how you would be using these holds. So crimps are tiny little holds that you have to have a lot of finger strength to be able to hold on to with your whole weight. And jugs are definitely the easiest holds. Pockets can be easy if the pocket is big enough, but sometimes they're tiny. Down pulls are similar to jugs, and side pulls are as well. They're just to the side. And then a gaston is similar to a side pull as well. And same with undercling, it's just a different direction that the jug is in. So, I suppose that's all I had planned for this first live stream. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. It was definitely an interesting experience for me talking in front of a camera like this. But the more I do it, I feel the better, the more comfortable I'll feel. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.